Every now and again, documents come up with details of astounding clarity of how the old system thinks of us, or perhaps how little they think of us is the more apt terminology. But this is what Jacques Attali wrote in 1981, who was then an advisor to Francois Mitterrand. And he said the future will be about finding a way to reduce the population. We will start with the old, because as soon as they exceed 60 to 65 years, people live longer than they produce, and that costs society dearly. Then the weak, then the useless, that do not help society because there will always be more of them, and above all, ultimately, the stupid. Euthanasia targeting these groups. Euthanasia will have to be an essential tool in our future societies in all cases. Of course, we will not be able to execute people or build camps. Might give the game away as to who did that is why. And he said we get rid of them by making them believe that it's for their own good. Overpopulation and mostly useless is something that is too costly economically. Socially too, it is much better when the human machine comes to an abrupt standstill than when it gradually deteriorates. Neither will we be able to test millions upon millions of people for their intelligence. You bet that. We will find or cause something, a pandemic, targeting certain people. 1981. A real economic crisis or not. A virus affecting the old or the fat. It doesn't matter. The weak will succumb to it. The fearful and stupid will believe in it and seek treatment. Perhaps I should repeat that line again for effect. We will find or cause something, a pandemic targeting certain people, a real economic crisis or not, a virus affecting the old or the fat, it doesn't matter. The weak will succumb to it. The fearful and stupid will believe in it and seek treatment. We will have made sure that treatment is in place. The treatment will be the solution. The selection of idiots then takes care of itself. You go to the slaughter by yourself, he said. Now, Attali was president of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development between 1991 and 1993 in a position that was created for him or them. It did not exist previously. Jacques Attali was born too. Yet another example of the top positions being filled in other countries by these Jewish elites. Now, Attali has a twin brother who is also involved as a political advisor, and their father was a rabbi who made a fortune in the fragrance industry, hence the term eau de toilette, which means toilet water. Some of it smells worse. He is a major French deep state actor, Jacques Attali, where he said only a pandemic can give us one world government. And he said Israel boasts the protocols are true, and we Jews started World War II and we run the world. Here is another quote that may surprise some people in the group, but way more outside of it. We brilliant, cunning Jews got it all figured out. We can run mental circles around any guy, except maybe that Hitler guy. But we got the goyim to reject and kill the one man who could have saved them for us. That is called the art of pro-pagan da, a tactic they use so often as it works on the non-thinking people. It's the reverse psychology again. In their world, what is good is bad, and what is bad is good. Fact is fiction, and fiction is fact. Now, Attili was mentor for Meteoron, and so was likely involved in the Russian asset rape done by Meteoron, Reagan and Leo Wanta, at the behest of or in support of the CIA entourage, of which the Bush group were also heavily involved. The current French President Emmanuel Macron is also involved in, and partially born to as well, the Jewish conspiracy. In August 2007, Macron was appointed Deputy Rapporteur for Jacques Attali's Commission to Unleash French Growth. Now, in 2008, Macron paid €50,000 to buy himself out of his government contract. He then became an investment banker in a highly paid position at Rothschild and C Bank, C-I-E, C-Sci. Clown Bank is the better term. In March 2010, he was appointed to the Attali Commission as a member. Macron formed a relationship with Alain Minc, who is a businessman on the supervisory board of Le Monde. In 2010, Macron was promoted to partner with the bank after working on the recapitalisation of Le Monde and the acquisition of Atos of Siemens IT Solutions and Services. Siemens is another clown company. In the same year, Macron was appointed as managing director and put in charge of Nestlé's acquisition of one of Pfizer's largest subsidiaries based around baby drinks. So there is Macron's link to Pfizer. But what should alarm people is Pfizer managed baby drinks. The implications of that is enormous and may not be felt until the next decade. And without being alarmist, one has to ask the question, were those drinks sterilising? Now, Macron's share of the fees on this €9 billion deal made Macron a millionaire. In February 2012, he advised businessman Philippe Toulouse-Bourdet. Please go and have a look at his face. You'll be alarmed. The CEO of the Avril Group. Now, Macron reported that he earned €2 million between December 2010 and May 2012, but official documents show that between 2009 and 2013, Macron had earned almost €3 million. Now, he left the Rothschild and Sci Bank in 2012. Now, Macron stated his political agenda was to rule as a Jupiterian president. A Jupiterian president. Jupiter was recognized as the supreme deity of Rome and known as the Lord of Light, ruler of the daytime, head of the Roman pantheon and the fifth planet from the sun. And according to Theosophy occultist and New Age program writer Helena Blavatsky, Jupiter is much more evolved than our Earth. She said Jupiter is far superior to the terrestrial spirit, and it's not because Jupiter is so many times larger than our Earth, but because its substance and texture are so much finer than and superior to that of Earth. Another renowned occultist, Eliphas Levi, in theological symbolism, Jupiter, the sun, is the risen and glorious Saviour, and Saturn, God the Father, or the Jehovah of Moses. And Helena Blavatsky further emphasises the fact that Son and Father, Jupiter and Saturn, are thus one. So what are they talking about? Well, what they're talking about is not the planets, but who represents the planets, and indeed who owns them. Jupiter is Zeus. Well, hence the play on words, Hey Zeus, for Jesus, Jesus. And Saturn was represented by Set, which is Setan, Saturn, and Satan. Satan is a title, not a single being. Now, Macron's background was and is a life of privilege, educated at a private Jesuit school with ties to elites and power brokers. Like I said, he worked as an investment banker at Rothschild's, revered by Israel as a supporter of the Jewish nation state, which is correct. And yes, like we revealed in the show, have the gods returned with Macron and Trump, which is Macron, the same name, and Cyrus of the past. Well, here's where it gets interesting. The French President Emmanuel Macron was born on December the 21st, the same day as the great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. And on Monday, December the 21st, 2020, the two biggest planets in our solar system were only 1/10 of a degree apart, giving the pair the look of one elongated star. And the 2020 merging of Jupiter and Saturn will be the closest since 1226. So it's been almost 800 years since Jupiter and Saturn have been this closely aligned. Now, from an esoteric spiritual viewpoint, does December the 21st point to the birth of the Antichrist system, which will follow in the close footsteps of the Great Reset? Now, as one member this week put it, and I agree with his insight, is the Antichrist a bad or a good thing? Have we determined what is the Christ, or whether it's benevolent? Their books tell you it's benevolent, but their books are filled with lies, and their story, not ours. Could the Antichrist be the return of the organic source? That is a question, not a statement. Now, the Great Conjunction also occurred on one of the 8 holiest satanic holidays, the winter solstice at 6:12 a.m. on the Friday of December the 21st. The sun will reach a point where it will appear to shine farthest to the south of the equator over the Tropic of Capricorn, thus marking the moment of the winter solstice. Now, adding another layer to the occultic mix is Saturn, the other planet in the Great Conjunction, known as the Old Sun and Dark Lord, symbolized as an eye, bull, owl, and Moloch. The Eye of Ra, the Papal Bull, the Bohemian Owl. An owl in Egyptian is Molech, which is Moloch, the human child sacrificer. In the esoteric Luciferian religion, Saturn's crescent ring is believed to be held up by the twin pillars of Freemasonry, Boaz and Yashin. Saturnism is Satanism. Lucifer is one with Saturn, and here is the rest of the satanic family tree. Kronos, the god of time, the Nephilim, was the son of Uranus and Gaia. The father of Poseidon and Hades, the Greek god of Saturn. Father Time, the Grim Reaper, the son of death, the Black One. Saturn is also known as the Purple Planet, represents Kali, the Hindu goddess of death and time. That is a major revelation to my own story. Saturn was the Purple Planet. Oh my. Red and blue are the alchemical primary colours, and in the occult, Jubilees celebrated the resurrected Saturn, ushering in the Prince of Darkness and the Age of Aquarius, New Atlantis. So, the New Age promoted Age of Aquarius is a dark satanic age. With their fabled Atlantis representing not light, but as I had said and portrayed it in previous shows, as dark. Remember when I said back in December I will be going back to the hidden war and certain things were prevented? There is one of your things prevented that month. Further comments. Abraham Levy about World War II. World War II was only a big kosher slaughterhouse for Goyim in order to give more money to us, then more power. The State of Israel was born coincidentally after the war thanks to Rothschild's money and the decisive vote by Stalin at the UN Assembly is the proof of what I say, he said. We gave weapons even to Hitler in order to prolong the war, and the money for us too via IG Farben. Hitler was not able to refuse our weapons because he was fighting a war against other Goyim nations that were influenced by the Jews, a war that we pushed against Germany. Emil Ludwig Cohen said Hitler will have no war, he does not want war, but we will force it on him. Not this year, but soon. You Goyim are a very good investment when properly squeezed. We are God, you see. Even Hitler didn't defeat us. What do you think to do? We are genius in the opposite camp. It would still struggle against us, but even so, a newcomer is no match for the old established settler. The struggle would be merciless between us, such a fight as the world has never seen. I and the genius on their side would have arrived too late. Not quite. All the wheels of the machinery of all states go by the force of the engine which is in our hands, and that engine of the machinery of the states is gold. The science of political economy invented by our learned elders has for long past been given royal prestige to capital. Theodor Herzl, one of the Jewish founders of Zionism, on the Judeo-fascist question. The Jews control the world. In our hands lies the fate of governments and nations. The Jews set governments one against the other. When the Jews play, the nations and the rulers dance. One way or the other, the Jewish race gets rich. This was said by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad, on October the 17th, 2003. He was removed from his position the same month. It's funny how that happens, isn't it? The CIA and the usual dark forces were involved in that. Madeleine Albright, Al Gore and the Bushes. Now, he did return as the Prime Minister in 2018 and was welcomed back by another deep state clown, Mike Pompeo, but that only lasted until March 2020. He said, "The Jews have always ruled the world and murdered millions by proxy. They get others to fight and die for them. Which is why, and this is my part, which is why they are called soldiers, spelt S-O-U-L, dyers. So they harvest the souls and prepare the vessel for another of their ilk, is why." Mohammed went on and said Jews invented socialism, Zionism, human rights and democracy, which is communism, to avoid persecution and gain control of the most powerful countries. David Spangler, a Jewish, said in 1945, he was an American spiritual philosopher, author, considered one of the founding figures of the modern New Age movement. Well, I never. So that is 3 dark intention references to the New Age cult. And it's time everyone sees it for what it is. New Age is the New World Order program. And he said no one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation. Here is another quote from M.A. Levy, a Jew and a secretary of the World League of Liberal Jews, in a speech in Los Angeles, 1949. Today, the Gentile Christians who claim of holy right have been led in the wrong path. We of the Jewish faith have tried for centuries to teach the Gentiles, but in the near future, when the Jewish people take over the rule of the United States, legally under our God, Lucifer, the serpent of Genesis, we will create a new education system providing that our God is the only one to follow, and Christianity will be abolished. The reality is Christianity was created by them in the past to create division amongst the people. If you could keep dividing and conquering, you will end up with one left, which is the religion of Lucifer and the dark overlords. All of it, religion, is fake. I'm sorry for the people who follow it, but that is the reality. It's fake. We mentioned an Israeli company called Elbit last week, and I was going to do a piece on them but ran out of time. Now, El means God, so you're then left with bit, and I searched for the Hebrew meaning as they always hide it in plain sight, but in code. And once you accept they write in code, a good researcher will reveal the code. Now, bit comes from the word bite, and perhaps the revealing of the meaning of bite will reveal what Stargate the series was telling you about the serpent race of Ra, Apophis, Hathor, Horus and others revealed as the Goa'uld, which broken down is gold AU. AU is the symbol of gold, and perhaps gold broken down means God El. But the ancient story of the tablets revealed they came here seeking gold for their own atmosphere. So let's look at the description. Bit means to bite, and also means lend upon usury. A primitive root to strike with a sting as a serpent. Their words, not mine. Strike as a serpent. Oh my. Figuratively, to oppress with interest on a loan. Bite, lend upon usury. Who created the usury system? The Hebrew Anunnaki masquerading as Jewish elites. Have no fear of the dark, for they are the beast of numbers, gematria, and it is they who must run to the hills of Zion and be in fear of us.